Hey everybody, welcome to the mainstream indie music channel. We talk about indie music normally. This week's episode is going to be a little different. And as maybe you saw in my shorts videos for this week, it's something that I'm very excited for. Um, Before I begin the video, though, I just wanted to touch on two things. Number one, welcome to over 860 of you subscribers. And if you are new here, which many of you are new on this channel, which I'm very fine with, I welcome you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I can't believe how much support you all give me. It's unbelievable, especially in the latest videos as well. So I just wanted to say that quick. The second thing that I wanted to say, an extension of what I said to open up this video. This movie and this soundtrack that I'm talking about today means so much to me personally because it really, looking back at it, shaped my taste in music. Because if you've been a longtime subscriber of this channel, I kind of go two different directions. Number one is the indie alternative music of the 2000s, and the other side of me is definitely the punk rock ska, kind of mix that I have. And I kind of want to incorporate that a little bit more into this channel as well, but not too much. I mean, literally, we're still keeping the indie music genre by talking about that. But I did want to incorporate some of that. And this movie is to blame, the Digimon movie, because recently I had a relative of mine, my brother, who is moving away and far away. And kind of one of the last things that we did together before he moved was we rewatched the Digimon movie together, probably for the 100th to like 1000th time. We could quote almost every single line, and we knew instantly which song was coming up in the movie. And the story of the soundtrack is what I want to talk about because it's really interesting about how it all kind of came together. Because a lot of it, as you know, of at the time, is a lot of the Japanese movement with cartoons, with anime, manga, was starting to infiltrate the United States at this time, the late 90s, early 2000s, because, of course, Pokemon and Digimon were the ones that really spearheaded that campaign. And so to capitalize on that, number one, they started to dub the Japanese versions into English versions for the rest of the world pretty much to watch. And number two, the Pokemon movie took a huge chance. They decided to kind of see where they could go with the franchise. And so the Digimon franchise wanted to follow suit. They saw how much money the Pokemon movie made them. And in fact, I believe not only that, but they were also working on the Pokemon movie 2000 around that period of time as well. So Digimon kind of was playing catch up, and they wanted to do it, but they had an issue. They had a problem. And that problem was they didn't have really any footage to go off of to make a film besides 3 short films that the Japanese version had put together. And so what they decided to do, the studio, was kind of Frankenstein put those 3 short Digimon films together into one movie. And then in order to do that, they had to dub over it and make it one cohesive story as best as they can. And that's what they did. That's what ended up happening with the Digimon movie. Now, the Digimon movie did do pretty well in theaters. It had a pretty good run. But what's especially happened since is the Digimon movie has developed a cult-like following. Kind of a smaller group that's kind of just kept pushing it forward throughout the years. And I believe one of the big reasons of why it has such a cult following is because of the ska punk soundtrack. Because, of course, in order to make the film better to American audiences, they pretty much just took what music was popular in the day. And if you think of that time period, think of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, that soundtrack, think of like ATV, Off Road, that soundtrack. And that's what was popular at the time, was that punk rock was starting to make its way and kind of turn into pop punk. And so the studios decided to take advantage of it and incorporate a lot of ska into it as well. Now, one of the first songs that's listed, and probably one of the biggest songs that was chosen, was All Star by Smash Mouth. That song had just been released to another cult classic movie, Mystery Men. And if you watch any late 90s, early 2000s film or TV show, you know that people loved that song. And so they took advantage of it. And that song was, ironically, one of the last ones that is used. But you will also notice that there are a couple of songs where it is pretty much a group made the song, or these original songs together from the studio itself. The group that did that is called Saban Entertainment, and they were not new to kind of dubbing over and making American English style songs based off of anime and other Japanese cartoons. They would take that, and of course, in a lot of those animes, they would have Japanese music playing, which is very rich and very different, of course, from the little kids that are watching it. And so they wanted to change it into something else. Now, those songs, there was a trio kind of songs that really stand out. One of the biggest songs, of course, was the Digi-Rap, which was played almost right away. Then there was the songs Here We Go and Run Around, which is used for the second season of Digimon. But in the movie, amazing things that happen and kind of stand out things that happened are three songs in particular that I wanted to focus on. The very first one was 1 Week by Barenaked Ladies. Again, kind of a product of its time. It was extremely popular. And in the film, if you remember, 1 Week starts playing right after you find out the complicated relationship that's happening with Tai and Sora. And then you start to see how split up the Digidestin are at that point in the film. I think, personally, it is almost a perfect choice of a song that is used at that moment. Now, the next song that I wanted to focus in on is the song All My Best Friends Are Metalheads by the band Less Than Jake. This is done in a huge action scene when Diaboromon escapes from the Digidestins and starts to make its way into the United States. Again, just fitting perfectly kind of with the United States tie-in with the action-packed part of the movie. And I can't tell you how long I waited as a side rant for All My Best Friends Are Metalheads to come out on the iTunes store. I would come out every single day and check and see if they bought it and added it to their catalog. And I went several years before that song. I finally found that song, and I listened to that song nonstop. To this day, it is still one of my favorite songs of all time. Now, the very last song that I really wanted to highlight off of this movie is the song The Impression That I Get by Mighty Mighty Bosstones. Now, that is another ska song that is used, again, by the studio, and it's kind of an odd pick. It was a popular ska song, but I wouldn't name it as a huge, massive song that took over, but I mean, hey, an absolutely banger of a song. And it is used at a perfect time in the movie, right after the final finale fight of the film happens. The Digidestin have won. Everything calms down. They avoid a nuclear explosion, and everybody is finally able to breathe and relax. And all of a sudden, that amazing horn section, followed by the ska guitar and lyrics, start playing over it. It is just a chef's kiss of a moment. Absolutely incredible. One interesting thing is, in the very beginning of the film, Fatboy Slim is also used as well. So, kind of another great pick that they had. And that just about rounds up the movie in general. Like I said, kind of an interesting background that even led up to the movie being produced and put together. And then it's literally a product of its time. You know, they had to take advantage of the pop punk movement that was coming out from the late 90s into the soon to be early 2000s period. And even some ska fans would enjoy it. What do y'all think? Tell me and let me know. Peace.